Lisa had been single for almost 2 years now. After her last relationship ended badly, she threw herself into work and honestly wasn't even thinking about dating. But her friends kept pushing her. "You need to get back out there," they'd say. "Not everyone is like your ex." Finally, she gave in and downloaded a dating app. The first few weeks were terrible. Guys who looked nothing like their photos. Conversations that went nowhere. Dates that made her want to run home and delete the app forever. Then she matched with someone different. His name was Alex, and right away, their conversations felt natural. He didn't start with weird pickup lines or ask for photos. Instead, he asked about her favorite hiking trails. When she mentioned loving old movies, he knew exactly which ones she meant. It was refreshing. They talked for 2 weeks before he suggested meeting. "There's this great restaurant downtown," he wrote. "Nothing too fancy, but they have amazing food. Would you like to try it?" Lisa found herself actually excited. She hadn't felt that way about a date in forever. She spent way too long picking out what to wear, changing her outfit 3 times before settling on something casual but nice. Her roommate laughed at her. "You're nervous in a good way. I haven't seen you like this in ages." The restaurant was perfect, not too crowded, dim lighting, and the kind of place where you could actually have a conversation. Alex was already there when she arrived, and he looked exactly like his photos. Tall, clean-cut, with kind eyes and a smile that made her relax immediately. "You found it okay?" he asked, standing up to greet her. His manners were old-fashioned in the best way. He pulled out her chair and waited for her to sit before taking his own seat. The conversation flowed like they'd known each other for years. They talked about everything: their jobs, favorite vacation spots, childhood memories. Alex was a business owner, something in tech consulting. He seemed genuinely interested in her work at the marketing firm, asking thoughtful questions about her projects. "I love how passionate you are about your work," he said as they shared dessert. "You light up when you talk about it." Lisa felt her cheeks warm. It had been so long since someone noticed things like that about her. Alex had this way of making her feel heard, like her thoughts and opinions actually mattered. They talked about travel dreams. Lisa mentioned wanting to visit Europe someday, maybe backpack through Italy. Alex nodded enthusiastically. "I've been there a few times for business. The food is incredible, but it's the history that really gets you. Walking through those ancient streets, knowing people have lived there for thousands of years." "You make it sound magical," Lisa said. "It is. And I think you'd love it. You seem like someone who appreciates the deeper meaning in things." As the evening went on, Lisa found herself thinking this might actually be something special. Alex was different from the guys she usually dated. He was more mature, more thoughtful. He asked about her family, but not in a weird way. Just normal getting-to-know-you questions. "Are you close with your parents?" he asked. "Very close. My mom's my best friend, honestly. And my dad, well, he's the guy who taught me to change a tire and balance a checkbook. They've been married 35 years. That's beautiful. You don't see that much anymore. Strong marriages, families that actually stick together." Something in his tone made her look at him more closely, but his expression was just warm and interested. They talked about books, and Alex seemed to have read everything. When Lisa mentioned loving mystery novels, he recommended several authors she'd never heard of. "I have a pretty extensive library at home," he said. "You're welcome to borrow anything that interests you." The waiter came by to refill their coffee cups, and Lisa realized they'd been talking for almost 3 hours. Time had flown by without her even noticing. "I should probably get going," she said reluctantly. "Early meeting tomorrow?" Alex nodded, understanding. "Of course, but I have to say this has been one of the best evenings I've had in a long time." He walked her to her car, keeping a respectful distance. No awkward end-of-date pressure or expectations. Just a gentle hug and a genuine smile. "I'd love to see you again," he said. "Maybe we could do something more active next time. You mentioned hiking." "I'd like that," Lisa replied, meaning it completely. Driving home, she couldn't stop smiling. Her phone buzzed with a text from her roommate. "How did it go?" "Really, really well," she typed back. For the first time in 2 years, Lisa felt hopeful about dating again. Alex seemed like the kind of guy she could actually build something real with. He was intelligent, respectful, and genuinely interested in who she was as a person. She had no idea that everything she'd shared about herself that evening, every detail about her family and background, had been carefully catalogued in Alex's mind for reasons she couldn't possibly imagine. To her, it had been a perfect first date. To him, it had been a successful initial evaluation. But Lisa went to sleep that night feeling happy and optimistic, already looking forward to their second date and whatever might come next. Their second date was at a coffee shop near the park. Lisa arrived 5 minutes early, but Alex was already there with 2 cups waiting. He'd remembered exactly how she liked her coffee from their dinner conversation. It was sweet, really. I got you the vanilla latte with extra foam, he said, standing to greet her with that same warm smile. They walked through the park afterward, talking easily like old friends. But something felt a little different this time. Alex's questions seemed more specific, more detailed than before. "Tell me more about your family," he said as they sat on a bench overlooking the pond. "You mentioned your parents have been married a long time. That's rare these days. Are they healthy? Active?" Lisa laughed. "Yeah, they're both in great shape. My dad still runs marathons at 62. My mom does yoga every morning. She always jokes that good genes run in our family." "Good genes," Alex repeated, like he was filing that information away. "What about your grandparents?" "My grandmother on my mom's side lived to 96. Sharp as a tack until the very end. My grandfather was 91 when he passed. Why do you ask?" "Just curious. Longevity is fascinating, don't you think? Some families just seem to have it." The conversation moved on, but Lisa noticed Alex kept steering it back to family topics. Health history, how many siblings her parents had, whether anyone in her family had serious medical issues. When she asked why he was so interested, he smiled and said he was just the type of person who liked to really get to know someone. Their third date was dinner at his apartment. Lisa was impressed. The place was huge, with floor-to-ceiling windows and expensive furniture. Alex clearly did well for himself. "I'll give you the full tour after dinner," he said, leading her to a beautifully set dining table. He'd cooked everything himself: salmon with herbs, roasted vegetables, some kind of fancy rice dish. The food was delicious, but Lisa found herself distracted by the bookshelves lining the walls. There were so many books, more than she'd ever seen in someone's home. "You really do love to read?" she said, getting up to browse the titles while Alex finished plating dessert. Most of the books seemed normal at first glance. Classics, business books, some fiction. But as she looked closer, she noticed clusters of books on genetics, family trees, something called selective improvements. There was an entire section on what looked like animal husbandry. "Interesting. Collection," she called to Alex in the kitchen. "Research mostly," he called back. "I'm always working on different business projects, you know how it is." When he came back with dessert, Lisa pointed to one of the shelves. "Animal husbandry? That's an unusual hobby." Alex's expression flickered for just a second before the smile returned. "Actually, I'm looking into agricultural technology, sustainable farming, that sort of thing. The future is in understanding how to improve livestock efficiently." The explanation made sense, but something about the way he said it felt rehearsed, like he'd used that line before. As they ate dessert, Alex continued his pattern of personal questions. This time, he wanted to know about her physical health. Had she ever broken any bones? Any surgeries? How often did she get sick? "You ask a lot of health questions," Lisa said, trying to keep her tone light. "Are you secretly a doctor?" "Just health conscious," Alex replied smoothly. "I believe in taking care of yourself. Speaking of which, has anyone ever told you that you have excellent posture, great bone structure?" The comment struck Lisa as odd, not the kind of thing you usually hear on a date. "Thanks, I guess. And your skin is remarkable, very clear. That's good genetics again, I'd bet." Lisa felt a little uncomfortable. The compliments didn't feel like normal compliments. They felt clinical, like someone was evaluating her features rather than appreciating them as a person. Later, As Alex walked her around the apartment, she noticed more strange things. Medical journals on his nightstand, a folder on his desk labeled family planning that seemed unusually thick, photos on his computer desk that showed other women, all with similar features to hers. "Those are just friends," Alex said quickly when he noticed her looking, "from various business networking events." But something felt off. All the women looked similar. Similar height, similar build, similar coloring. It was probably just coincidence, but it stuck in Lisa's mind. During their fourth date, the comments got weirder. Alex mentioned her excellent childbearing hips while they were watching a movie. When Lisa gave him a confused look, he quickly kissed her and changed the subject. He made observations about her teeth, her hair texture, even the way she walked, always followed by romantic gestures or compliments that made her question whether she was overreacting. Lisa started talking to her best friend Kelly about it. They met for lunch on a Saturday, and Lisa found herself voicing doubts she hadn't even admitted to herself. "He's perfect on paper," Lisa said, stirring her salad around her plate. "Successful, good-looking, treats me well. But some of the things he says are just weird." "Weird how?" Kelly asked. "Like he's studying me instead of getting to know me. All these questions about my family's health history, comments about my physical features that don't sound like normal compliments?" Kelly frowned. "That does sound strange. What's your gut telling you?" "I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. It's been so long since I dated anyone seriously. Maybe I'm just rusty at reading signals. Or maybe your instincts are trying to tell you something," Kelly said gently. "You've always been good at reading people." Lisa wanted to dismiss her friend's concerns, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. Alex was charming, attentive, and seemed genuinely interested in her. But underneath all of that, there was something else. Something that made her feel less like a girlfriend and more like a specimen being examined. She decided to give it more time. After all, maybe she was just paranoid after her last bad relationship. Alex had never done anything actually wrong. He was probably just an intense person who asked detailed questions. Some people were like that. But deep down, a small voice was starting to whisper that maybe Kelly was right. Maybe her instincts were trying to warn her about something she couldn't quite see yet. 2 months had passed since their first date, and despite her growing concerns, Lisa found herself getting more attached to Alex. He was thoughtful, always remembering small details about her day, bringing her favorite flowers and planning dates. That showed he actually listened to what she enjoyed. So when he called on a Thursday evening, his voice filled with excitement, Lisa felt her heart skip a beat. "I want to cook for you this weekend," Alex said. "Something special, just the two of us. I have something important I want to discuss with you." Lisa's mind immediately went to the obvious conclusion. They'd been spending more time together. Their relationship was getting serious, and now he wanted to have an important conversation over a romantic dinner. Her stomach fluttered with nervous excitement. "That sounds wonderful," she said, already, mentally going through her closet for the perfect outfit. She spent Friday afternoon getting ready, choosing a dress that was elegant but not too formal. She didn't want to look like she was expecting something specific, even though she totally was. Kelly helped her pick out jewelry and gave her a pep talk. "Just remember," Kelly said, "whatever happens, make sure it feels right for you. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything you're not ready for." Lisa nodded, but she was barely listening. She was too busy imagining how the evening might unfold. Saturday evening arrived, and Lisa drove to Alex's apartment with butterflies dancing in her stomach. The building's lobby was fancier than usual, with fresh flowers and soft lighting. Even the elevator seemed to move slower, giving her more time to wonder what Alex had planned. When she knocked on his door, Alex answered wearing a crisp white shirt and dark pants. He looked nervous but happy, which only added to Lisa's anticipation. "You look beautiful," he said, kissing her cheek. "Come in, I have everything ready." The apartment was transformed. Candles flickered on every surface, soft music played in the background, and the dining table was set with what looked like his finest dishes. The whole scene screamed romantic dinner, and Lisa felt a warm glow of happiness. But as they walked toward the table, Lisa noticed something that made her pause. Next to her place setting, alongside the elegant silverware and crystal wine glass, was a stack of official-looking papers. "What's this?" she asked, pointing to the documents. "Dinner first," Alex said smoothly, pulling out her chair. "We'll get to that after we eat." Lisa sat down, but her eyes kept drifting to the papers. The top page had legal-looking letterhead and what appeared to be her full name typed at the top. Why would there be legal documents at a romantic dinner? Alex served the meal with flourish. He'd clearly spent hours preparing everything. The food was restaurant quality, and under normal circumstances, Lisa would have been impressed. But she couldn't stop thinking about those papers. "This is incredible," she said, taking a bite of the perfectly seasoned chicken. "You really outdid yourself." "Only the best for you," Alex replied, but there was something different in his tone. Less romantic, more businesslike. They made small talk through the first course, but Lisa's curiosity was eating at her. Finally, during dessert, she couldn't wait any longer. "Alex, what are those papers? You're making me nervous." Alex set down his fork and smiled, that charming smile she'd grown to love. But tonight, something about it seemed different, more calculated. "Those papers represent an opportunity," he said. "Something I've been thinking about for weeks. Something that could benefit both of us tremendously." Lisa's heart raced. This was it. This was the moment. She tried to keep her expression neutral, but inside she was practically vibrating with anticipation. "Go ahead," she said softly. "I'm listening." Alex reached across the table and took her hand. "Lisa, these past 2 months have been incredible. Getting to know you, learning about your family, understanding your values and your background. You're exactly what I've been looking for." Lisa felt tears prick her eyes. This was actually happening. "I have a proposition for you," Alex continued. "Something that could secure your future and fulfill what I believe is your greatest potential." He gestured toward the papers. "Why don't you take a look?" With shaking hands, Lisa picked up the documents. The first page was titled Reproductive Partnership Agreement in bold letters. Lisa blinked, sure she was reading it wrong. She flipped through the pages, her excitement quickly turning to confusion, then horror. The documents outlined terms for her to have children in exchange for money, housing, and what Alex called lifestyle support. There were sections about diet requirements, exercise schedules, and regular medical checkups during pregnancy. The language was cold and clinical. It referred to her as the carrier and talked about genetic optimization and superior offspring. There were clauses about how many children she would be expected to have, what would happen if she wanted to back out, and detailed medical procedures she would need to undergo. Lisa read the same sentences over and over, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. This wasn't a marriage proposal. This wasn't even a normal relationship conversation. This was a business contract for her to have someone's babies. "Alex," she said slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. "What is this?" Alex leaned back in his chair, his demeanor completely changed. Gone was the nervous romantic energy from earlier. Now he looked calm, professional, almost proud. "It's exactly what it looks like," he said. "A partnership agreement. I've been searching for someone with your exact qualifications for over a year. Your family's health history, your physical attributes, your intelligence level, your emotional stability. You're perfect for what I need." Lisa felt like she was in a nightmare. "What you need?" "Alex, this is insane. You're talking about me like I'm some kind of asset." Alex finished matter-of-factly. "Because that's what you are. A valuable asset with excellent genetic potential. And I'm offering you a very generous compensation package in exchange for utilizing that potential." Lisa stared at him. This man she thought she was falling in love with, and realized she didn't know him at all. Everything about their relationship suddenly made horrible sense. The health questions, the comments about her appearance, the interest in her family history. She hadn't been dating Alex. She'd been auditioning for him. "This is sick," she whispered, standing up so quickly her chair nearly fell over. "You're sick." "Sit down, Lisa," Alex said, his voice firm but still calm. You're overreacting. This is a business proposition, nothing more, and it's a good one. Look at the financial terms. But Lisa was already backing away from the table, her mind reeling. She needed to get out of there. She needed to get away from this man who had spent 2 months pretending to care about her while actually evaluating her like livestock. I'm leaving, she said, grabbing her purse. Lisa, wait, Alex called, but she was already heading for the door. She had never felt so foolish, so used, so completely deceived in her entire life. Lisa's hand was on the door handle when Alex's voice stopped her cold. Where do you think you're going? His tone had completely changed. Gone was any pretense of warmth or charm. This voice was cold, controlling, nothing like the man she thought. She knew. She turned around slowly, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Alex was standing now, no longer the relaxed dinner host. His posture was different, more intimidating. The candlelit apartment that had seemed romantic minutes ago now felt like a trap. I'm leaving, Lisa said, trying to keep her voice steady. This conversation is over. No, it's not. Alex stepped closer and Lisa instinctively pressed back against the door. You're not thinking clearly. You need to sit down and let me explain why this is such a good opportunity for you. Opportunity? Lisa's voice cracked. You want to pay me to have your children. That's not an opportunity, that's business, Alex finished calmly. And before you get all emotional about it, let me show you something. He walked over to his desk and pulled out a thick folder. Lisa watched in growing horror as he opened it, revealing what looked like profiles. Photos of women, all with similar features to hers. Blonde hair, similar height, similar build. Each photo was attached to what looked like detailed background information. These are my other candidates, Alex said matter-of-factly, flipping through the pages like he was showing her a restaurant menu. I've been very thorough in my research. You're not the only option, Lisa, but you are the best option. Your family's health history is exceptional. Your physical characteristics are ideal. Your education level shows good intelligence genes. Lisa felt sick. You've been doing this to other women? I've been evaluating potential partners. Yes, it's taken me almost 2 years to find the right fit. Most women don't meet the genetic requirements. Others don't have the right temperament for long-term commitment. Genetic requirements? Lisa repeated, feeling like she was in some twisted science fiction movie. Listen to yourself, you sound completely insane. Alex's expression darkened. I sound like someone who understands that the future belongs to people who plan ahead, who don't leave important decisions to chance or emotion. This isn't insane, Lisa, this is smart. He closed the folder and set it aside, then walked closer to her. Lisa tried to turn the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. Alex noticed her attempt and smiled coldly. It's locked, he said. Digital lock. Voice activated. Only responds to my command. Lisa's blood ran cold. Open it. Right now. After we finish our conversation. I need you to understand that you're making a mistake by reacting this way. The compensation package is very generous. Look at the numbers again. He gestured toward the contract still sitting on the dining table. $50,000 for the first child with bonuses for healthy delivery. Free housing in a beautiful location. All medical expenses covered. A trust fund set up for your future. Most women would jump at this kind of financial security. Most women would run screaming, Lisa shot back, because most women aren't interested in being treated like livestock. Don't be dramatic, Alex said dismissively. This is a mutually beneficial arrangement. You provide something I need, I provide something you need. It's no different from any other partnership. Lisa stared at him, this man she had been falling for just hours ago, and realized she was looking at a complete stranger. Everything about their relationship had been a lie. Every sweet gesture, every thoughtful conversation, every moment she thought they were building something real together, had been part of his twisted evaluation process. You're sick, she whispered. Everything between us has been fake. Not fake, Alex corrected. Strategic. I needed to understand your personality, your values, your compatibility with long-term planning. The romantic aspect was Research. Research. Lisa felt tears burning her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing her breakdown. "Let me out of here," she said firmly. "Not until you agree to at least consider the proposal. Take the contract home. Think about it for a week. Discuss it with a financial advisor if you want. The numbers speak for themselves." Lisa looked around the apartment, her mind racing. The door was locked. The windows were too high up to be an option. Her phone was in her purse, but Alex was standing between her and any chance to call for help. Then she remembered something from her college self-defense class. Her instructor had always said that the best defense was staying calm and looking for opportunities. Don't panic, don't show fear, and wait for the right moment. "Okay," she said, forcing her voice to sound calmer. "Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm overreacting." Alex's expression brightened slightly. "Now you're being reasonable. Can I at least sit down? This is a lot to process." Lisa moved toward the couch, putting some distance between herself and Alex. "Of course," Alex said, looking pleased with what he thought was progress. "Would you like some wine? It might help you relax." "Sure," Lisa agreed, even though the last thing she wanted was to drink anything he offered her. Alex turned toward the kitchen, and Lisa saw her chance. His phone was sitting on the coffee table, probably connected to the door lock system. But, more importantly, he'd moved away from the direct path to the door. As Alex opened a bottle of wine in the kitchen, humming softly like this was just a normal evening, Lisa quietly picked up his phone. The screen was still unlocked. She quickly found the smart home app and tapped on the door controls. "The wine is from a vineyard I visited last year," Alex called from the kitchen. "I think you'll love it. Very smooth, perfect for celebrating new beginnings." Lisa's hand shook as she navigated the app. There it was, the front door lock. She tapped unlock and heard a soft beep from the hallway. "That sounds wonderful," she called back, trying to keep her voice normal while she grabbed her purse and moved quietly toward the door. The lock clicked open just as Alex emerged from the kitchen carrying 2 glasses of wine. "Where are you going?" he demanded, his friendly facade dropping instantly. But Lisa was already through the door, running toward the elevator. She could hear Alex behind her, his voice raised and angry, but she didn't look back. The elevator doors opened immediately, like the universe was finally on her side. As the doors closed, she saw Alex running down the hallway toward her, his face twisted with rage. But it was too late. The elevator was already moving. Lisa collapsed against the wall, her whole body shaking. She pulled out her phone with trembling fingers and called the only person she trusted completely. "Kelly," she said when her friend answered. "I need help. Something terrible just happened and I need to come over right now." "I'm here," Kelly said immediately. "Whatever it is, we'll figure it out together." As Lisa drove toward Kelly's apartment, checking her rearview mirror every few seconds to make sure Alex wasn't following her, she realized that her nightmare was probably far from over. A man who could plan something this elaborate, who had been manipulating women for years, wouldn't just give up because she'd escaped once. But for now, she was free. And she was going to make sure she stayed that way. Kelly took one look at Lisa's tear-stained face and immediately pulled her into a tight hug. They sat on Kelly's couch while Lisa told her everything that had happened, from the strange contract to her narrow escape from Alex's apartment. "We're calling the police right now," Kelly said firmly when Lisa finished her story. "This isn't just weird dating behavior. This is stalking, manipulation, and who knows what else." Lisa felt exhausted. What if they don't believe me? What if they think I'm just some woman who got upset about a bad date? Then we'll make them believe you. Do you still have photos of those documents on your phone? Lisa realized she'd been so panicked during her escape that she hadn't thought to take pictures. "No, I was too scared to think clearly." "That's okay. We'll figure something else out. But first, we're filing a report." The next morning, Lisa and Kelly went to the police station together. The officer who took Lisa's statement was a middle-aged woman named Detective Rodriguez, who listened carefully and took detailed notes. "You said he had files on other women?" Detective Rodriguez asked. Yes, like he'd been researching multiple people. All the women looked similar to me. Similar hair color, similar build. And you're sure about the contract language? The specific terms you described? Lisa nodded. I read enough of it to know what he was asking for. It was all laid out in legal language like he'd had a lawyer write it up. Detective Rodriguez set down her pen. Lisa, I want you to know that you did the right thing by coming forward. What you're describing sounds like part of a larger pattern of predatory behavior. 3 days later, Detective Rodriguez called with news that made Lisa's blood run cold. We've had 2 other women come forward with similar stories about the same man. He's been using different names, but the photos match. We'd like you to come in and look at some evidence we've collected. At the police station, Lisa saw photos of Alex taken during surveillance, but his real name wasn't Alex at all. It was David Chen, and he had a history of fraud and harassment charges in 2 other states. He moves around every few years, Detective Rodriguez explained. Changes his name, creates new business identities, finds new targets. You're actually the first person who managed to get away before signing anything. Before signing anything? Lisa felt sick. You mean other women actually signed those contracts? One woman in California signed a similar agreement. She's been trying to get out of it for 8 months. The legal language was designed to make it nearly impossible to break. Lisa learned that Alex, or David, had been running this scheme for years. He would research women online, create fake business profiles to seem successful, then spend months building trust before presenting his twisted proposal. The good news, Detective Rodriguez continued, is that with 3 victims willing to testify, plus the evidence we've gathered from his apartment, we have a strong case. The legal process took months, but Lisa found strength she didn't know she had. She connected with the other victims through a support group for people who had experienced manipulation in relationships. Hearing their stories helped her realize that what happened to her wasn't her fault. One of the other women, Natalie, became a close friend. He made me feel like I was crazy for being uncomfortable, Natalie told her during one of their coffee meetings. Like I was overreacting to what he called unconventional relationship terms. That's exactly what he did to me, Lisa replied. Made me question my own instincts. When the trial finally came, Lisa was nervous but determined. She testified about the contract, the manipulation, and how Alex had systematically gathered information about her family and health history under the pretense of normal dating conversation. Alex was convicted on multiple charges including fraud, stalking, and attempted coercion. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay restitution to his victims. But the real victory for Lisa came afterward. The experience had changed her in ways she never expected. She started a blog called Trust Your Gut, where she shared her story and helped other women recognize warning signs in relationships. People always say to trust your instincts, she wrote in one post. But they don't teach you what to do when someone is specifically trying to manipulate those instincts. The key is paying attention to the small things that don't add up, even when everything else seems perfect. The blog grew quickly, and Lisa began speaking at college campuses about dating safety. She met with law enforcement agencies to help them understand the psychological tactics used by predators who targeted women through dating apps. 6 months after the trial, Lisa was at a coffee shop working on her laptop when someone approached her table. Excuse me, are you Lisa, the woman who writes the Trust Your Gut blog? Lisa looked up to see a man about her age with kind eyes and a genuine smile. He was holding a copy of a book about psychology. I am, she said cautiously. I'm Ryan. I'm a victim advocate with the district attorney's office. I've been following your work, and I wondered if you might be interested in collaborating on a program we're developing for dating safety awareness. Unlike her first meeting with Alex, Lisa felt no red flags. Ryan's questions were straightforward and professional. He talked about his work helping crime victims, not about her personal life or family history. When she mentioned being busy, he respected her schedule without pushing. They worked together on the safety program, and their professional relationship gradually became personal. But this time, everything felt different. Ryan was patient with her need to take things slowly. He understood why she sometimes felt anxious about trusting someone new. "I'm probably going to ask you a lot of questions about your motivations," Lisa told him honestly after they'd been dating for a month. "Ask away," Ryan replied. "After what you've been through, you have every right to be careful. I'd rather answer 100 questions than have you feel unsafe." Their relationship developed naturally, built on mutual respect and genuine compatibility. Ryan supported Lisa's advocacy work and never made her feel like she needed to downplay her experience or stop helping other women. A year later, Lisa stood in front of a room full of college students, sharing her story. "The scariest part wasn't the contract itself," she told them. "It was realizing how easily I'd been manipulated, how someone had used my desire for love and connection against me. But here's what I learned. Trusting your instincts doesn't make you paranoid or difficult. It makes you smart." After her talk, a young woman approached her. "Thank you for sharing this," the student said. "I've been dating someone who asks weird questions about my family's health history. I thought I was being too sensitive." "You're not being too sensitive," Lisa replied firmly. "If something feels off, it probably is. Trust yourself." Looking back, Lisa realized that her terrifying experience with Alex had led her to discover her true purpose. She was helping people, making a real difference, and building a healthy relationship with someone who respected and supported her. Most importantly, she'd learned to trust herself again, and that was worth more than any contract could ever offer.